What's up, guys? Hope everybody's all doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what looks like Dillian Whyte's comeback fight against Jermane Franklin. So we're in the heavyweight division in this video, and I'm not mad at this fight. I think it'll end up being a decent fight, a decent comeback fight for Dillian as well. It's a fight that I think he should win. If he's got any types of dreams or aspirations to stay in the top of the heavyweight division and try and get back to another title shot, this is a fight that he should win. But it's against an unbeaten opponent that's going to be very hungry. He's been calling for his opportunity. He's been calling for the fight against Dillian Whyte. He signed to fight Dillian Whyte a year or two ago. Otto Wallen ended up getting the fight, which was then called off. But Franklin's been calling Dillian Whyte out. He fancies the fight. He thinks he's got Dillian's number. And stylistically, I think it will be an entertaining fight. And I think it is actually a winnable fight for Franklin, with Dillian Whyte being quite flat-footed and quite easy to hit. Franklin should be able to land on Dillian, and it might end up turning into quite an exciting slugfest. Both guys, not the most fleet of foot, and both guys, they like to, they got that alpha male type presence in the ring and outside the ring, so it could be entertaining at the press conference as well. And I think it'll need to be entertaining at the press conference in order to kind of drum up some attention and sell a bit of tickets for this fight, because like I say, Franklin, that's one thing about him, is he's pretty unknown to the boxing public and general public as well, especially in England, but he's unbeaten. He's an American. Like I say, he seems to have a bit of a mouthpiece on him, been calling out Dillian Whyte, really fancies the fight against Dillian. So I think the press conference could be quite entertaining, might be able to drum up a bit of attention for the fight. But like I say, stylistically, I think it will be an entertaining fight. Both guys are pretty similar in stature. Jermaine's about 6'2" with a 77-inch reach, and Dillian around the same height, about 6'2". I think he has a bit of a reach advantage. He's got quite long arms, and I think that will play a factor in this fight, because Dillian's got a pretty good jab, quite flat-footed, but has a good jab, and a very good left hook as well. And I think that will be his weapon in this fight. Will probably be one of those catch and shoot left hooks, kind of like he caught Derek Chisora with. I think that is what he'll probably end up catching Jermane Franklin with. But like I say, it's a winnable fight for both men, because Dillian, he's getting up there in age. He's been through a lot of tough fights. His chin is very questionable, which Jermane Franklin's already mentioned in the in the pre-fight or on his Instagram, saying that Dillian has a glass jaw. So stylistically, I think it will be a very entertaining and exciting fight that is winnable for both guys. And Jermaine's coming into this fight, like I say, very hungry. This is his opportunity he's been asking for. So he's got that undefeated mentality, and he's going to come in, trying to win, not just there to pick up a paycheck like some of the possibly older fighters are doing at this point in their career. Franklin's still relatively young in the heavyweight division. I think he's about 28 years old. And, there are some sellable, marketable things about Jermane Franklin. Like I say, he's undefeated, got a bit of a mouthpiece, and what else was I going to say now? Well, he has a pretty entertaining style as well. I mean, he comes to fight, he's not going to box negatively. He's trying to throw shots and land his shots. He's not the most fleet-footed, but he's also not as flat-footed as like a Dillian or maybe a Berman Stiverne, because I think Jermane does remind me a little bit of a younger Berman Stiverne in terms of his stature and his style a little bit, the younger version of Stiverne. But I think it's going to be a very entertaining fight, because like I say, both guys are pretty flat-footed. Both guys, like I say, have that alpha male presence in the ring. I think Dillian has got the advantage in this fight. He's quite crafty. Not to say that Jermane isn't, but I think Dillian's quite underrated in terms of his boxing IQ and some of the counters and traps that he's setting in there. Also got a really good left jab, does Dillian. I think that jab will give Jermane a lot of problems in this fight. And that catch and shoot left hook that Dillian has, is one of the best punches in the heavyweight division. That left hook has power. I think Dillian's right hand needs a bit of work. He hasn't got much, doesn't look to have that much pop in the right hand, but that left hook of his carries a lot of power. And I think what I would be leaning towards Dillian Whyte to probably knock out Jermane Franklin at some point in this fight, probably with a left hook. And I do think Dillian will probably be winning most of the rounds with that jab of his. But I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. And like I say, Jermane definitely going to come to fight, and I think it will be exciting. Let me know what your guys' thoughts and opinions are in the comment section below. I think it's a decent comeback fight for Dillian Whyte, although I will say it's pretty much all risk, no reward, due to Jermane Franklin not really being rated by the general public or boxing fans or even other heavyweights in the division. Nobody really talks about him. So it is a bit of a high risk, low reward fight. However, I do think if he wants to have any aspirations or dreams of getting back to the top of the heavyweight division and challenging for another title, he does need to be dealing with Jermane Franklin, probably knocking him out. Jermane, he hasn't really fought at this level of competition and in front of the type of audience he's going to be in front of, so it will be quite an adjustment for him, although, it's also an opportunity for him to come out and make a name for himself. One thing about, I've seen a few fights of Jermane Franklin's against the likes of Pavel Sauer, Rydell Booker and Jerry Forrest. All three of those fights were actually pretty competitive, and those guys are kind of like journeymen in the heavyweight division, although they are pretty decent journeyman gatekeepers in the heavyweight division. I don't think Jermane Franklin looked the way him and his team were wanting to look in those fights, probably due to the fact that he just doesn't have that real one-punch power. And if you don't really have that one-punch power and you can't get those types of guys out, you're not really going to look good against them, because they're very experienced, crafty, veterans that they know some tricks in there that'll make you look bad, and they'll hang around, and it won't be the type of performance you're looking for, and I think that was the case. So if there's one thing about Jermane Franklin I can say is I'm not sure about his punching power, due to him, when he stepped up to that kind of decent level of Jerry Forrest, Rydell Booker, the knockouts kind of stopped at that level. So I would question his power, but he's also questioned Dillian Whyte's chin, saying, let's see how your chin holds up, you got a glass chin and all that. So it's an interesting fight. I think Dillian Whyte should get the victory, probably by a knockout. But let me know what your guys' thoughts and opinions are in the comment section below. What do you think about this as a comeback fight for Dillian Whyte, and do you give Jermane Franklin a chance of winning this fight? Thanks for listening. Talk to you guys again soon. Cheers.